6 o'clock, something like that. We've got 70 folks. Welcome to PersonaFi community classes. My name is Connor O'Brien. You know me from the group because I post way too much about the newsletter and answering questions and all of that. So, but Chris Haven, Professor Haven, is here. He's going to teach us about some risk management. So, you know, trading is fun in games and it's all fun and whatnot, but there has to be we have to kind of look at it a little bit different. Like you have to assess your risk. So that's what we're going to be covering tonight. Huge things. If you're not subscribed to the newsletter, I will put links in the chat and they're all over. So you know about it. Paul, who's in here, he's the one that makes it look really good. Paul works hard to help you guys enjoy what you're looking at. I work hard to make sure that you sign up for it. So, and there's a bunch of guys that go into it. Brian jumps in, Ken's in there. There's a big effort behind it. So please support us and keep that going. And then the YouTube channel, you guys are all in here already, but I will post a link to the YouTube channel. If you haven't gone, please join like that. David, I did record. I made it auto record every time, so I don't ever forget. Thank you, though. Professor Haven, the floor.
All right. Okay.
Yours.
Well, thank you and welcome to Risk Management. Just so we all know when we're starting with this, I'm going to go a little bit more basic for a lot of the newbies out there for just in terms of just saving and getting stuff before you even jump into the investment. I always like to do baby steps because you have to learn how to crawl before you walk, before you run, before you do the Olympics. So with that, this is risk management. And again, it's not a one size fit all. Obviously, there will be different situations for different people, but these are just extra tools for you to put in your toolbox, for you to maybe think about some things and then also be like, hey, I never thought of that. Or maybe even you guys can give me some ideas that I haven't thought about. So let's just first talk about things before you're investing. The really big thing that I'm really into is if you have retirement benefits, such as a 401k or even a stock purchase plan, I would say max those out first. But in regards to the stock purchase plan, kind of know what your company is. So I know Connor works for Zillow, and Zillow did really, really well today on their earnings. So if you were in that stock purchase plan, then you know you would make a decent penny. And I think the restriction period is it 90 days? I'm thinking for Zillow it's 90 days. Am I right on that, Connor, or is it 6 months?
For what?
For your stock purchase plan, how long do you have to hold the shares for?
I mean, there's different vesting periods. I think it's like 4 years.
Yeah. 4 years. Okay. 401k or stock purchase plan. Ooh, I'm so good at getting better at this. So why would I want to invest in my 401k first? That's a good question. Well, if they have a match, then why would you not want to take free money? So if the contribution, and I'll write an example. So when they talk about contributions, and I know most of you know this, but for some of you newbies that are out there that are starting their first job or their first career path, and they don't really know a lot of the stuff, when they say percentage-wise, I'll change that color in a second. They just really mean what your salary is at the percentage of that. They mean salary.
And will you cover, so somebody did say, hey, my company offers traditional 401k and Roth. Which one would be better to invest in?
That's perfectly good question. So a 401k, that is actually just the tax code. You're technically having a retirement account. So when they call it 401k, it just means under the tax IRS code of 401-K and some other nonsense within that giant Bible. But when we're talking about Roth stuff is after taxes. A 401k is pre-taxed. So when you have a 401k, you're paying it on the pre-tax basis. You're not charged a penalty, and I can go more into those things as well on a different slide. But when we talk about Roth just means after it's taxed, so you don't get double taxed. But you can hold the or you can hold on to the what is it called? Dividends. If a stock is purchased, um, if you receive dividends or anything after the initial investments, such as if for example, if I were to pay $100 for a stock and then it gets up to $200, you're only taxed for the gain that you have, not on the loss. So you would only be taxed $100 from that $200. So that's just kind of what I do with that. So let me just get rid of this stuff. So the next thing, and I saw there were some conversations today about what would you rather do if you had a lot of money, or if you were given a certain amount of money. Would you either pay off your debt, or would you invest it into the stock market and then use the investments or the proceeds to help you pay off your debt? That's a double-edged sword, and I always say double-edged sword because one, it can work really, really well, but it can also stab you really, really well too. My rule of thumb is if your APR is over 7%, so if you have like a credit card that's over 7%, if you have a car loan that's over 7%, I would try and pay those down first. And the reason why is because the rule is that if you invest, if you're in the stock market, roughly 5 to 7%. Now, this year has been completely crazy. Last year has been completely crazy. 2018 has been completely crazy. So we may be on a new forefront on what the average return rate would be. So I would say, try and get rid of, your credit cards. Give me 1 second. So try and eliminate I want a different color.
Another big thing with this is like mortgages. Okay. So money from mortgages is cheap. So people are like, should I pay off my mortgage?
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Well, there's a couple things with that, and I was actually going to talk about that too. But I mainly mean CC, so credit cards, high interest loans. So that could be maybe if you took out like a refinance loan for your house, and maybe it's 10%, things like that. That's, those things are higher. So if you think of just of the average return rate, I know a lot of our return rates being with Let's Invest and Trade Together and PersonaFi, we have exorbitant investment gains. But we also have to look at the norm too, because if things become maybe a bear market or a flip side or things like that, we still want to have like a decent standard or a decent norm to look upon. So again, with this debt, we can go a whole hour, we can go into 2 hours, we can go into a lot of hours on this. The one thing I always say, and this is just what I used to do, is pay it weekly, because you add an extra month, and that month actually it adds onto your principal. And if you have a 30-year mortgage and you start paying just 1 month extra, or I'm sorry, every week, which equates to 1 month extra, you shave off about 5 to 6 years.
Yep.
So that's just one of the things.
David Ramsey method of 52 payments. Yeah.
Oh, is that what it's called? Oh, yeah. See, I don't know. I'd call them the Haven methods, but I'm sure a lot of other people capitalized before I did. The next thing is like, don't live beyond your means. And I've got a picture to draw. So the big thing is, here I am. This is me. This is me, Dr. C. Had to rhyme. Oh, okay. So Ashton said 1 extra payment a year is 7 years off the loan. So he's
a mortgage guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it was like 5 to 7. I don't remember.
7.
So I really want the C8 Corvette. Oh boy, how am I going to do this?
Let's see how you draw this here.
Oh, this is starting to already look like a Tesla truck, but
Oh gosh. Oh geez.
It's a Tesla. It's got to have the Corvette taillights.
Do you have to, when you become a teacher, do you have to like fail like the drawing portion?
Funny.
Is that like a requirement?
I'm just really bad. If I had a picture next to me, I'd probably do a little bit better. But now the MSRP on this is 100,000. Do I want to buy that? Of course I do. Pick up all the cool people with the car. But I mean, yeah, just because you can afford something, don't put your stuff to the max. Don't live literally at the edge of everything. Because if you're investing, and let's say you're into a trade and it's a short-term trade, maybe it's a month or 2 months, maybe it's 3 months, and it doesn't go the way it's supposed to, like there could have been a natural disaster, there could have been, there could have been something that happened to where you lost that money. Now you don't have your investment, your portfolio to fall back on in the event of something were to occur. Okay. So unfortunately, do I want to buy a C8 Corvette? Well, there's already a dealer markup, but nope, I'm going to wait till the Z06 anyways. But so yeah, so live within reason. I try and say, save up, and I'll go into to the savings part, but just try not to live at the max. It's fun, yeah, but then when you get older like me, and you've had fun, in your 20s, but then you realize like, yeah, this is stressful. I don't want that. Pay off all your bills first before you do anything else, rather than know you've got water and electricity. If your electricity goes out and you're trading, if you were making a trade and then all of a sudden the internet goes out, your Wi-Fi goes out. Yeah, a lot of us trade on our phones, but pay off your bills first, because you need to know what you got first. And then the next thing is just have a month of emergency funds if you lost your job. Maybe you got sick, you had to take a month off. Just things like that, because stuff does happen, just like what Forrest Gump made on his run. He said something happened, and then that guy monetized on that. So just real quick, and this is just another idea for a lot of people. I know most of you have control of finances, but if you really don't, and you still want to get into investing, but you just need to physically see something, because yeah, you could say, oh, I have $1,000, I need to blah, 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 and allocate everything. But if you really need that physical thing, this is what I tell a lot of students to do. And when I mean students, I don't mean just 18-year-olds. I mean like 25, 26, 30-year-olds. Use envelopes. So, and this is just real quick. I'm just going to cover it. And I know some of you may be rolling your eyes and be like, oh man, this is so basic. But guess what? We all start somewhere. Anyone can invest, but we need to be smart about it. So when I need to see something physically, just buy as many envelopes as many bills you have. Give me one moment. I'm still really congested. And so what I mean is, like, let's say maybe this is your mortgage or rent. Maybe this is food, and I'll draw arrows so you guys know. Okay. And then just other bills and whatnot. So I won't go too far into it, but let's just say if your mortgage and rent is going to be X amount of dollars, put it physically in here. Or if you need to, set up different savings accounts and put them in there electronically. It's an amazing statistic. I think it's 45% of Americans do not have a savings account. Or was it? Oh, no, it's 30. UK is 45%. And it's just, it helps. It helps to invest, because there are people that are investing in my neighborhood and they don't have a savings account. So, and again, these are just tools just to have you understand. Okay. Give me one moment. Get rid of that. So that's kind of just being, doing some risk management, kind of figuring out, and all that stuff. Here are my tips for some risk management too. Is one, only invest in knowing what you can lose. Now, a lot of companies that we're investing in, we've done research in, and we know, they're going to be around for a while, but things can happen. A great example is, and I'll show it to you, is with Tilray today. Some people, or even GameStop, that's even a better example, is GameStop. Some people bought GameStop at $350, $420.68, or even up to the max of $5 or $500+. So when you go into these things, you need to ask yourself, if I were to have lost all this money, am I okay with that? Kind of like the other saying is, if I loan my friend money, you're not, just don't expect it coming back. So that's just kind of some other tips. And these are just tips. They're not saying like this is going to work for everyone. Because I know I see Connor in there saying what he does in terms of managing his money. That's up to you to decide. If you want to DM me, I can maybe set up a small idea of what you could do to help. But I know a lot of people don't like to talk about money, so I'm just going maybe loosey goosey on this one. The next thing, try to invest only 10% in a certain stock or sector. So a good example, and this is actual investing tips. If you go YOLO GME for, all the way up to the moon, $1,000, well, there are a lot of people now that are in a lot of deep crap because they held after the tip, after the maximum of a parabola, and they're now, I mean, hopefully they're not in margin, which means that it's a loan, but there's a lot of people that they invested right here, but now GameStop's down here. And at first I thought there may have been another rally, but it's looking like there's not. I was thinking because of the different stuff, but anyways, but it didn't happen. It's probably not going to happen. That's not investment advice to say short it, but I'm just telling you. So when I say 10% too, if you have one share of Amazon, so if I have Amazon, that's an M, just so you guys know. If I have one share of Amazon, that's let's just make it easy, $3,000. I have 20,000 in my portfolio. Well, let's do the math on that. If that's 6% of my portfolio. So could I buy another one? Sure. Yeah, I don't mind doing that. But I didn't mean 6%. What did I mean? I'm not doing the math right. 15%. I'm really bad with arithmetic. I can do advanced calculus, just so you guys know, but arithmetic is not really good for me. But so that's 15%. So yeah, this may be kind of like those okay, like that's fine because they're doing really, really well. But it's also, you're putting 15% of your portfolio at risk if Amazon does something bad. Like, let's just say the new CEO, and this is a great example too. The new CEO, he looks really good right now, but we haven't seen him as an Amazon CEO. Going back to maybe some historic things, Schwab, Charles Schwab, he managed and built Schwab up to the company that it is today. But in the early 2000s, he stepped down and there was another person. And it was really, really bad from what I understand. It was just mismanaged. There was a lot of bad stuff. Or even GE. GE is a very, very good company. But then once the new CFO came along, or CEO, excuse me, and he started mishandling the retirement funds, that's what you need to know. Save your money.
So I wanted to chime in on number 2. So if you are in this class right now and you are actively investing and you do not have a savings account, okay, to at least cover 6 months of rent, food, all of that, stop what you're doing and save your money. Risk management for your life is more important than risk management for investing. Because what I was shocked to see is how many of my friends lost their jobs due to COVID and had nothing to cover for it. That's a scary thing. This can easily happen again. It could be worse next time. If you don't have money saved, then stop investing, save some money for a little bit, and then, or at least, I guess you can take your money from investments, but start funding a savings account, please, for the love of all of humanity.
It really is important. That's why I said 1 month, because it may not be feasible for a lot of people to do 8 months. But if you can at least just get 1 month, just so you've got something to back up on, at least you can say, okay, I've got a backup. You don't have to be stressed out, because guess what? If you're stressed and you need to make money real bad, I'm not talking about the bad stuff, but you may go to the casino, you may do an option that may be out of your investment range of knowledge. You may just go YOLO on Amazon, YOLO on GME, just all that stuff. So it's really important that you have some type of savings and to mitigate risk in the event that bad things happen. The next thing, and I really love this one, real versus hypothetical losses. Stocks go up and down. I see what Rick said. That's funny. It's only a loss if you sell. So things go up and down. If something is continuously down, then maybe you might want to sell it. But again, that's up to you and what you want to do. But I'm just saying, if you're down $2,000, that doesn't mean you lost $2,000. But when I talk about I made this amount of money, that's what's called my realized gains versus unrealized gains. So when you see on your brokerage statement, usually they'll say unrealized and realized. So realized, hold on, a different color. I'll do that one, green. What? Oh, sorry.
No, you won't.
Realized equals actual money made or lost.
Or lost.
Unrealized, that's happened to me a couple of times. Unrealized gain is literally, it's paper unrealized gain would just be hypothesized money gained or lost. Okay, so when we talk about this stuff and people are saying, "Oh, I'm down $2,000. I'm so upset with myself. These investments didn't go well." Well, maybe. I'm not trying to, be buddy and cuddle you on some of these things, but it may also not be too. So that's more of the confidence booster. It could have just been a bad day. Perfect example today, there was a huge dump in the tech sector. I didn't check S&P because I was following a lot of different stuff today. But the tech sector went down. So people that are really into Tesla, they're like, why is Tesla going down? Why is everything else within the NASDAQ going down? It was just a huge sell-off. And I'll go into more on why those things occur. But we'll continue on. This is a conservative approach, but I really feel that it's important. And this last tip goes for every age. So what this means is the 100 minus age is you're going to take 100 and subtract your age. So for me, I'm 35. So I know this one. So 100 minus 35 is 65. So that means my portfolio should be 65% in stocks, in growth sector, growth stocks, meaning it needs to move in. Well, what's the other 35? Well, that can be up to you, but on a conservative approach, you could do 20% in bonds. And even though a lot of people say bonds are bad right now because the rates are low, those are slightly secured if you do bills, bonds, and notes. That's through the government, but that's there for you. You could also keep cash.
I'm currently doing some convertible notes that I love.
Okay, yeah. So and so just so people know, convertible notes can be he's purchasing either into a debt, and it can also be converted into the stocks, or are they warrants? Do you know?
I don't know. Sorry, my wife just said something. Hold on.
Okay. And then Rick says high yield saving accounts offer close to inflation if bonds are low. So yeah, so there's a whole plethora of different financial products that are out there to suit a lot of people's needs. So that's kind of where I'm at also right now. For me with bonds, I'm doing mutual funds and some stocks. So I'm a little bit different because my trading style is a little bit different than most people. But in terms of what a financial advisor will likely tell you is this rule. I know Ken's not with us because he was a licensed financial advisor. I was just a broker. But so you could do ETFs with this, stocks with the 65. That's up to you. I mean, you can always shoot me a DM or anyone else in the group, and we can have a talk about that. But so those are just some of the tips, just for risk management. And before I go on, does anyone have anything to say? I know there's really not many questions with this part, but I know Connor's, see, good thing he has that emergency fund because he's going to pay for a new couch. So, so Jordan asked, in mid-20s, what percent would you recommend in the 401k? Max. If they offer 6%, you give them 6%. If they offer you 10%, you take the 10. Because whatever, let's say if your salary was 40,000, 40,000 of 10%, that's $4,000. So, 401k. Oh, bonds. Okay. So in bonds, so if you were to do 100 minus 25 or 25, 75%. Okay. So I would say 75%. You're younger than us, so you don't have to follow this rule to the T. I mean, if you're just new to investing, I'm not saying to go out and go buy bonds. You know, you want to get your feet wet a little bit with stocks just to see how growth works and how some of the stuff does affect the market. I mean, if you're doing, I guess, if I were to say what would a conservative value be, I would still keep it at the 75, and like what Rick was saying, the entire market can crash. So if you follow, just one thing, so again, it goes back to the tip.
Did you see Brandon's question?
Yeah. Oh, no, I did not.
Brandon's question he said, curious why something like SPY, which is showing consistent gains over all time, wouldn't be where you'd put more than 65% instead of bonds.
Okay, so let's go back to why not 65% all into SPY? Because SPY is an ETF that covers a broad range of companies, which is the Standard & Poor's 500 list. Now, here's the problem. It goes against what my tip was. You went 10% into a stock or a sector. S&P is still considered, it's a broad sector. It's still, roughly could be defined as a sector in my opinion. But it may be at all-time highs and you may get a lot of money from it, but you do want to diversify. So, and especially last year with COVID, which I have not seen in a long, long time, the S&P 500 was going just kind of like, just like a little bit, just kind of like going like this. NASDAQ was going like this, like crazy. And it was kind of crossed like this. Now they kind of even itself a little bit. But just try to diversify, because there will always be sectors that will gain in popularity if something were to crash. You could go into silver and gold or oil even, and don't say oil's going away, because you still got to lubricate those parts, and there's still a lot of cars. But when we talk about more advanced things like that, I'll go into more detail. But just so you know, the money follows somewhere. Whether it's cryptocurrency may go, S&P may drop. Just things will flow into different assets. Sorry, guys. So just so you know, but that's a good question. Like, why not SPY? Try and focus on different sectors. Maybe growth sectors, emerging markets, things like that. These are kind of just if you're going into looking at a mutual fund or a stock in itself. There's two things. There's called your alpha. So it's kind of like, like the term alpha dog, alpha male. It's in a percentage. It just means how a mutual fund or investment or a stock did compared to the benchmark of the fund company or whatnot. So, excuse me. So what I mean is, and it's funny because it's the first name. If you follow the S&P 500, oops. Okay, that's horrible. Sorry, I'm gonna erase that. This is a lot easier on the smartboard. But if you look at the S&P 500, that's a pretty good benchmark. And let's say for 2000. I'm just doing 2000 because I don't remember what 2020 was. Let's just say it was down 3%. But Amazon, and I'm just making these up, Amazon in 2000 went up 3%. So it is the difference between the benchmarks. So Amazon did technically 6% better than what the S&P was at. So why did I get 6? Because the S&P on a just a benchmark. So we're just saying like an average, just stable. Just so here's a line that just means everything's normal, everything's peachy before COVID. All right, S&P's down here at 3, and Amazon is here at 3. So the difference between them. So you may see people talk about that. Mutual funds generally talk about that. They may say, oh, our alpha is 7, which means they did 7% better than what the sector did. Just some things just to note. You may not hear it as often now because more people are doing their own investments, but still mutual funds and in these companies, they're out there. I mean, they make a lot of money, but they make you money too. So there's another thing to think about. The one thing that I do want to talk about more in that sense is your beta. And it's not, like you're below the alpha male or anything like that, but it's a theoretical value of how a stock will move compared to the benchmark. It's a ratio. So, what do I mean by that? Let's just take AT&T for example. And that's T. And it's trading at $30. And I know the beta is 0.5. So when we deal with decimals, it's a fraction. So 0.5, it means 0.50. So that means for every dollar the S&P goes up. So I'll do a graph. This is the S&P and this is AT&T. Let's say the S&P went up to $200 and we know AT&T was at 30. Well, now S&P went to 400. If the beta is 0.5, that means AT&T is only going to move about half of what it should be. So instead of it doubling, just like you would think of linear algebra from 200 to 30, what would you think would be T? It would be 60, but no, its beta is 0.5, so it only goes up 50%. So it would be about 45-ish. But that also goes the same if it goes down. So this one just happens, so this would be, 18 or whatnot. So it just measures it. So how do you find those? You can just Google, AT&T beta investment, or with Schwab, if you go under the research section, so right now its beta is 0.73. I don't know if you guys can see that. Connor, is that, how big is that for you guys? Hopefully it looks, okay. So basically it's saying AT&T right now, it's only going to move about 75% of what it's going to be. So if we take about, well, what happens if it's over 1? Look at IGC. That was one of Connor's, Rise Eyes. So this beta, it's theoretical, is 5.14, meaning if the S&P or whatever benchmark it is, this is an industrial. So if you look at the industrial benchmark, for every dollar this goes up, well, I don't have to click OK. That means IGC could theoretically hit $5 more, 500%. So when you look at some of these companies, that may be something that you can mitigate risk. So AT&T would be considered what's called a defensive stock. So it's just like what it means. It's defensive. So it doesn't go up high. So if I pull up AT&T, you can see. So if you look at AT&T for the 5 years, yeah, this looks like it went super far, but look at the range, 44 to 28, and I did 5 years. Wait, did I do 5 years? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So it didn't change much. Yeah, it slightly declined. Yes, COVID happened, but look, AT&T only went from 38. This is right when everyone started to freak out. Oh, wait. This is, oh wait. Yeah, right here. Sorry. This is when everyone freaked out. and then it dropped, and now it's still considered defensive because look, its range since COVID and after the recovery, it's still within within a $4 range. So it's good to look at the beta. It's a theoretical model, and the math behind it, sure, I'm not going to really show that, but just think about it. It's just to help you. It's another tool for you to be like, okay, where could this technically go? And I can't now with Thinkorswim. I don't know how to pull it up on that. I just use Charles Schwab's Research Center. They have a lot of tools. Not trying to sell Schwab. You can Google this stuff too, and they have lists of a lot of the different companies and their beta. The question is, what program is this? This is TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim. Charles Schwab did acquire TD Ameritrade, so soonish Schwab will be integrating Thinkorswim platform with their trading platform. So I'm kind of excited for that. Excuse me. I'm not dying. I just have a cold. But so yeah, so that's just another thing on what it looks like. Is Thinkorswim the main way you read graphs? Yes. Yeah, that's what I use. I like it because I can customize a lot of stuff. This purple line, just so you guys know, this is the S&P 500, and it on the left side of the graph, this went from, or the SPIX, this went from 200 to 4,000. So as you can see, now some stocks, if you were to buy SPY, for example, so SPY is the SPIX, and it follows roughly the same value. Yeah, you're going to double your money if you had the S&P 500. Now, kind of goes back to the question, should I have put all my money into S&P 500? Well, look what would have happened. Yeah, all right, making money. I'm okay with that. All right. Oh, crap. Huge sell-off. Now, without even seeing this stuff, no one knew where the end was going to be. It could have been down here. We could have faced a global global depression. Like that's what we were facing. Just we were fortunate to get everything out, get everything done quickly. So people right here, that's where everyone's like, oh crap, I want to get out before I lose any more money. So that's what it means about mitigating risk. If you diversify and you pick things from different sectors, going back to AT&T, you wouldn't have been out a lot of money. Now, if you went all in AT&T, not, goes against my rule. Now, your rules could be different from mine. Let me go back out. So kind of also with the thing with Tilray is kind of the example about diversification is, everyone could have been like, yeah, and you doubled your money, but then look, there was a huge sell-off. So that's why, it's really important to not think, you see these Wall Street bet posts, you see a lot of people posting, oh, I've made, $50,000 in one day from this penny stock. That's an unrealistic expectation. For every one person posting that, there are probably 1,000 people that have lost money. So when we look at these things, just because a lot of people post stuff, one, doesn't mean they're always successful. Two, doesn't mean they're always going to hit a lottery. That's why it's a lottery, or being lucky. Just like with Berth Hathaway, who owns that? It's Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett's son, he took $100,000 in the 70s, and he pursued his music career, and he was super happy. Now, he could have been a multimillionaire from those shares now, but where I'm going with this is, there are always success stories, but there are also stories of people just being happy with where they're at. That's funny. Brian isn't always successful. Don't shatter my dreams. Okay, sorry about that. But when we talk about stocks and options, it is a circulation. It is literally a weight. Just because, one person's right here, there's another person carrying the other part. Now, it may be up here, up there, somewhere. We don't know. But there's always winners and losers in the stock market. We just don't know what the ratio would be. So just something to think about. So now we're kind of going to, how do I make money? What stocks do I pick? Blah, blah, blah. No, I'm kidding. There's two things you need to know. That's what I do. And just to answer Roxy's question real quick for beginners. Oh, Webull. Yeah, I've been playing around with Webull. I like Webull. I like Schwab actually, even though they claim they didn't restrict trades on GameStop. I saw it firsthand, but Schwab is really good. Webull is starting to become a liking for me. Just kind of going back, what a re-explanation of what beta is. So just kind of going back, the beta is how a stock will move compared to a benchmark as a ratio. So if the beta is 0.5, that means for every dollar or every 100% the benchmark goes, this is only going to rise up 50%. But then the same goes if it goes down $1 or 100%, then it will only drop 50%. So we used AT&T, and AT&T, I said it was 50, but for right now, it's theoretical is 0.74, meaning that it's not going to move nearly as much. So if it has a really, really low beta, that means it's just going to be flatlined. Now, I guess not going off on a super big tangent, but also doing risk management, that could be like a savings account, but it pays dividends. So if you have something that just really doesn't move, there could be things could just, so yeah, so higher betas are riskier. Yes, that is true. Oh, wait, am I sharing? I'm sorry, guys. Can you not see the Charles Schwab login right here? I don't know what you can or can't see. Oh, you can see it? Okay. So I'm sharing. I see the login. All right, give me one moment, guys. I'm going to log in real quick. But there are different companies that have different betas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Hunter 2. All right. So if I look at IGC, this is considered riskier. Got login. So if I let's look at Tesla, actually. I'm just curious of myself. Oops. Tesla? So Tesla, its beta is 2.09. So
you know you're not sharing screen anymore?
Yeah, I know that. I just wanted to make sure no one can. That's why I turned off. Oh wait. Oh, there we go. All right. So looking at Tesla, the beta is 2.09. So now Tesla's benchmark is going to be a little bit different because it says sector consumer discretionary, automobiles. So when you look at these different things, Tesla could be considered a more riskier investment than AT&T, just like how I showed you with Thinkorswim. AT&T it just went up a couple dollars, but Tesla, to the moon, to Mars, to Andromeda, to Alpha Centauri, we have no idea. So just other things to help mitigate your risk. Research and your due diligence or data drive or something, whatever you want to call it, the more you know, the more confident you will feel getting into an option. Like, for example, would I want to buy an option at Tesla? More, maybe, yeah. But would I want to buy an option for a company I have no idea on? It's like, well, hold on a second. Like, what's going on? Would I want to buy a call option on GameStop right now because there was a big pump and dump? Now, would I want to buy an option for GameStop now? That's a little bit more risky than what I would think about Tesla or about other companies that are showing real strong growth, like Zillow. NEO had an article today or within the last week about coming to the United States. So I know a little bit about NEO. I know a little bit about Zillow. Connor knows more about Zillow than I do, but he can't do anything about it. Things like that. So it's just it pays to know. to do things. This is Street Smart Edge with Schwab. I use a lot of different things. My main account is through Interactive Brokers. How I would look at that, I don't know if they have this stuff. Schwab, you can sign up and get an account, and you can just use Street Smart Edge to do your research and then correlate it with Thinkorswim. Just other tools to get you into so you can see stuff. Going back down to the tips, you can't time the market, but you can be smart. So as long as you're in I call it, like people say, oh, I'm the wolf of Wall Street. I'm the shark of Wall Street because I ride the wave. If the wave's going up, I'm following up. If the wave's going down, I follow it down. I'm like a shark. And what are great about sharks is they don't look back because they have no necks. But anyways, going back, some of you may have gotten that joke. But but if you research and if you understand why maybe something went down, maybe it was just everything in general. Like the whole market went down today. So that was a perfect opportunity to buy. That didn't mean you need to sell. Maybe that's a chance to go in and then sell a little bit more if it goes back out. I'm sorry, back up. And then Kathleen, I read that. I'll get to you on a DM in a little bit. So research. It really pays. Again, don't go all in. Don't be like YOLO to the moon for 419. Whatever the youngins are saying these days. But it pays attention to learn, mitigate your risk. If you want to go into some in one sector, maybe offset it with something else, because maybe again, like GE is the big one. GE is still a great company and has great products and will likely be around for a long, long time, but it got into a lot of trouble with their investments in the early 2010s, and look where their stock is now. They cut their dividend. There are other companies that are like that too. Others just went out. Sears, J.C. Penney. If you were to tell someone in 1970 that J.C. Penney and Sears were going to be out by 2020, then they'll be like, you're crazy. We may even think, and this isn't really going on a tangent, but it's saying don't put all your money into one thing. Don't put all your eggs into one basket. Amazon may be great right now. It may not be great in 20 years. I'm thinking with the way that they're developing, likely not. I'm not saying like short Amazon, let's do a short squeeze, all in, all that stuff. I'm just saying if something's good now, doesn't mean it's going to be good down the line. I know I'm kind of doing a shotgun everywhere with mitigating the risks on your investments. Just one last thing I kind of wanted to talk about, because everyone wants to know, when do I get into an option? That's what everyone wants to know. When do I buy?
Sneaking it in, huh?
And then if you get the reference and the far right, if you see that, the little icon, yeah. When do I get in? Hey guys, just pop it in. So and let me just show you. The best example is with Tilray today. Holy moly! Wait, is this today? This shot up more? Oh wow. Crazy.
The best example is see like that little part where it's red and green down there. The dip after the big high. You should have gotten in like right there. Yeah.
Well, here is an example. Now, I was thinking there was the big high. I like it. When I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh. And if some of you have me on Facebook, you saw I tried to get in at $49 at pre-market, didn't fill. Tried to get in at 51, didn't fill, and I was just sad. I tried to get in with 200 shares because I was pretty confident. But then once I saw this part right here, I was like, oh, I want to short this, and short means I want this to go down. I know it sounds bad, but notice the volume. So this blue bar is the volume. Oh my gosh.
And that's in like millions or something? Like that's
Yeah,
incredible volume.
there was like, and this is per five. So if you followed my thing last week, this is a 5M, so 5 minute, and this is the whole day. And then the gray part is this is pre-market, this is after hours. So I tried to short the actual stocks because if you remember implied volatility or IV, that's the poison IV that could be for some people. I did a put, which means I did a right to sell. Oh, I'm sorry, I tried to short it and it said shares were not available. And I was like, wait, what? You can't, this is becoming hard to borrow now. Is this another short squeeze? Because Tilray had a similar event where it went up to, now I'm not saying this is going to happen because this may be more legitimate, but the shortage or to short sell or to short something and wanting it to go down, they were not available through Interactive Brokers or Schwab. And I said, okay, I'll just have to do this. I will do a put instead of doing it and doing that because this IV, the implied volatility was so high. It was 200, 300%. So I did a put for $42 right here. And it was like $100 for it. So it was at $1. And it said the Greeks, which, you know, it was saying, let me draw. So it was saying like delta was like 0.42. The IV, this was a 42 put, so P for put. For I did I think it was March 1st. I don't remember what it was. But I paid like $1.20. Now it hit right here. And it was only now you would think if this is going down, I'm making money, right? No, it didn't happen. Because the implied volatility was slowly decreasing because the volume, even though it was still there, but even the first 15 minutes, it was so volatile. We didn't know, like these candles were still forming. Oh, so Delta, I covered that last Wednesday. This is the change of the option price per dollar the stock moves. So if this thing was at 60, 65, and this thing was at 55, theoretically or mathematically, I should have made money right here, but I did not. It wasn't until I sold, literally, I got really lucky. I sold down there and I was able to nab it because the implied volatility was still was becoming lower. This was becoming more apparent. So I was fortunate enough to show it. And if you guys don't believe my stuff, just believe me because I don't want to have to show screenshots. Because I will if you want me to, but I don't feel like it. But there's that. So I'm looking at a couple of things. Like what's FOMO, fear of missing out? That's another tip too. That's hard to figure out because it just goes back to the tips. Go back, think of the tips. Do your research. Is it people getting in thinking it's the next best thing? Maybe they don't really even know what they're going into. People may not even know what TLRY is.
That's right.
And they're just like, I'm going to buy it. Everyone else is buying it. This is cool. But if you're like, oh, it's a marijuana company. Oh, Congress is talking about legalization of marijuana on a federal level. It's going up because of the state. Oh, Tilray is increasing distribution of their products in Europe and Great Britain. Oh, they're merging with whatever APHA is, another marijuana company. I think that's what the ticker is. Then yeah, this makes perfect sense why it's going up. Afria, yeah. Afria. So that makes more sense why this is going up. But then again, you're catching people that are like, I have no idea what this is. And then also I was going to talk about that too, Rick, about the ratio. So for every 100 shares of APHA, it's going to convert to 83 shares of Tilray.
And just so everybody knows, I'm going to say this now. Next week, we are covering entry and exit strategies. Okay.
Yes.
So Dan Ganancial is going to be there. Chris
Perfect.
Chris does a good job, but Dan provides some extra wisdom.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm just a genie. You know, you got to have two genies.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
We have the wizard, which is
y-
Ryan. We got you
yeah,
as a genie. Dan's a
yeah,
genie. I'm just a diabetic. You know.
yeah. I'm a diabetic genie, so it works. I feel you. Um, so going back to when do you get into an option? I would wait 1 hour because let the market decide where it wants to go, then assess where things are at, then make your entry point. Because if I bought, I try to actually double down right here because it was cheaper here than it was right there. Then it started making more sense down there. So going back to when do you trade? When do I get into an option? And this is just the teaser. So this is kind of a little bit like an entry. Is maybe wait an hour before market. I'm sorry. Maybe wait an hour after market opens to determine where the stock is going. Can you touch on how the IV affects the premium? So basically, going back from last week, the higher the percentage, the more you're going to pay for an option, even if it doesn't hit where it needs to hit. So like for GameStop, we were seeing 800, 900% implied volatility. So just the lower the volatility is, the cheaper you're going to pay for it. Perfect example for today. One of our members, he got into a Zillow call for so to buy it at $167.50. He only paid $6.75 for premium. So he paid $675. So his break-even point, so again, break-even point, you add your call plus your premium. So it's 175. Well, where's Zillow at right now? Like 185. So without even counting Delta, IV, all the other good stuff, this call will likely be worth more than that $1,000. Oh, it's at 180. Okay, yeah, I could see that big spike down. Ooh, that's an interesting curve. Nothing to say because we don't know where it's going to go, but I'm interested to see what happens at 2 a.m. on that. So kind of the teaser with what we're going into next week, which is going to be kind of when do you enter, when do you leave it? That's why we need Dan on this because, I mean, Dan and I are great buds. We agree on a lot of stuff. Me, I always go with the weak hands or green hands. Dan's more of a hold, not diamond hands, but he sees the longer term stuff. So you're going to hear, what your goals are, whether it's short, mid, or long-term investment. But yeah, we're right at 7:00, but I can answer any questions you guys want. So I know I'm getting a couple DMs, but maybe if I'll let Connor pick out some of the questions, and while you read some of the questions, I'll respond to the DMs real quick.
While we're all on here, we saw a significant market drop this morning. Out of curiosity, how does that happen without major news? A lot of people like where they're at, and they don't want to continue to hold. So it's just a massive sell-off. And if one massive sell-off happens, it usually triggers the rest. And that could be across the market. I don't think it was that bad of a drop-off, but
that was a blip.
Yeah, that was minuscule.
But for me, it was really good. But I really, really liked it because I was just nabbing those NASDAQ points like crazy. It was like, I'm not going to say what I said in my DMs, but it's like they just kept coming back. They was like, hey, we want you to make more money. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll keep doing this. But yeah, so when you see like small dips, again, there are circuit breakers. If the S&P 500 goes down 7%, there is a circuit breaker halt. So when you see 1 or 2% and people are freaking out, there's nothing to freak out about. Could be an opportunity. It's really, it's how, again, are all your debts paid? You got your mortgage going or your rent going, or your bookie, is he paid off? I'm kidding on that, but just make sure, just with that respect. So with Connor, are there any questions that kind of stood out to you?
I mean, to be honest, I didn't really look too much.
Oh man.
I'm sorry. I got distracted by many a thing. I get like a 1,000 messages a day from people in the group. So big thing, yes, next week, entry and exit strategies. I had a nice thing. Rick told me about new URLs on YouTube. Awesome, thanks for that. Kevin said thanks for the class, first one with y'all, and I'm excited for the next week's. So yeah, we have all of them on our YouTube. If you want to go back and watch that, subscribe to the newsletter, subscribe to the YouTube. It's only going to get better from here. Tonight's weekly halftime show will be out. Paul, who is now taking Wednesday nights off because he loves you all so much. So we're going to get it out earlier than before. So everybody, round of applause for Paul. I know
Yes.
we can't see or hear most of you, but yes, thank you, Paul O'More.
Hey, so real quick, actually, I saw was it Tyler was mentioning the newsletter states current holdings and exited stocks. So he mentions where the newsletter doesn't mention when to buy. I've actually recently added this right under, any of the options plays. It has a clear cut, like kind of entry and target price. So if you look closely at those are the real only timing related plays, so to speak, anyways. The rest of them are just to give an idea of, how people that are involved in this are holding.
Tyler's screaming. Sorry, go ahead. Paul?
Yeah.
Were you done?
Yeah, no, I mean that's all I'm trying to say is like the the general holdings, that's literally the holdings. He doesn't specify what the holdings are, but there is no entry and exit on those just because but I think that I might start adding support and resistance levels. I'm going to see how daunting of a task it is and assess my goals.
I'll give you a good resource. It'll be real easy on that, Paul, just so you know.
All right.
I'll give you a couple resources and you can be like, oh yeah, this works, or may not work. And then also I'm going to write a small little piece on the newsletter for Sunday about this risk management stuff. Because I was asked by Connor. He asked for my geniness.
I did. Bless me with your geniness.
Yes. So again, but I also want to thank you and the opportunity for doing this stuff. I know we were talking about Sundays. I may actually have a date for Valentine's Day. I know it sounds really crazy and really weird.
Let's just throw out Sunday. Okay.
Yeah.
It's Valentine's Day. Spend times with your family, kids, wife, husbands, partners. Blow up dolls.
Your significant other.
That's
right. Whoever that may be. So with that, I think we're going to do Sundays and then Wednesdays. If we get a lot more people, may move it on to another more, may even have signups, just maybe like a college. I used to teach college for a little bit. So, and then we can have different classes, different sectors. So if you guys really like it, please make sure you tell a lot of people about this, all your friends, family, people that may not be experienced. I learn from students all the time. I'm not, I make mistakes. I learn from people, and there could be even better ideas. We can toss ideas around. So just the more popular it becomes, the more we can do it. The drawings will still be the same. I may invest in a stylus and a smart board to do it. But so if you still want to see the cool drawings, just let me know. So anyways, with that, so yeah, just you guys have a good week and happy trading.
See ya.
And yeah, no, I'll do a GoFundMe. I'm down for that, for a stylus. Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
we
guys.
can do GoFundMe.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right, guys. All right, see ya.
Take care.
Bye-bye.